Yeah, I'm passionate about it. I mean, one of the things I've done at Deloitte and with a great team here is create a cloud complexity management methodology, an approach to either fix complexity as we find it or avoid complexity as we start moving into the cloud. And I think that it's something that should be on one of the top priorities of the different enterprises out there. And we're going through this crisis, and I think one of the things that could be a negative outcome is companies moving too quickly to tactical decisions around security and governance, things like that, that ultimately lead to so much complexity that you can't operationalize the systems. And we saw that in the last year or so. So in other words, enterprises will build these very complex, heterogeneous multi-cloud environments because that's what the cool kids are doing. And they're rolling it out, and then ultimately they throw it to operations, and operations just doesn't have the resources, the skills, or the tooling to operationalize stuff. And then it gets kicked back to the developers and the migration systems, and they end up normalizing or basically migrating twice to fix problems with complexity. We can proactively avoid it. However, I'm not a big fan these days of wagging my finger at people who made mistakes, but we can actually fix the thing once it's been deployed and do so with a minimum amount of work.
How are you approaching fixing? So we have this moving car, and we're trying to change the tires in a moving car, and potentially there's multiple moving cars if there's multiple clouds. I think the authentication, the IAM tools, I guess, sort of thinking of RSA, Microsoft, Okta, Duo, and the list goes on. Where are you seeing complexity at that side of the fence with some of these decisions?
I am if they're using multiple tools without good reason for using multiple tools. So in many instances, you find out that they're using heterogeneous security managers because something has maybe 5% of the capabilities that they're looking for. To me, that's not a good reason. And so I'd rather see them standardize on one tool and do the custom integrations to put it under one abstraction layer, versus multiple abstraction layers. And I think that's where people run into problems. And of course, even if you have the people around to maintain a very complex environment, I think ultimately you're going to find that it's going to raise the risk of breaches just because of the complexity that's there. And you can calculate that. The cost of risk is something that, consultants have figured out for years and how to do it. And then the more technology you have that layers into the systems, even if it has a specific niche-based role, the more complexity that comes in and the weaker your security system is going to come in. So in other words, you can have one security system that's much better than three security systems, even though that one security system doesn't cover every feature and function that you need. And so people need to consider the trade-offs there. Even staying with traditional security for now in certain instances where you can't incorporate legacy or traditional technology under the security blankets, different ways of dealing with compliance, things like that. And really, we need to consider these trade-offs. We have a tendency to kind of be kids in a candy store. And since cloud computing is almost instantaneous satisfaction, we can go ahead and add these things in a very short period of time. Even some of the on-premises systems, we can download them in a very short period of time. And we need to ask ourselves, it's not that we can, it's really should we? And I think that's the question that's not being asked.